Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my friends from all over the world tuning in today on a Monday. Well, I hope your weekend was good. Mine was great. We had some very nice weather here in Berlin, very hot, very sunny. Went out biking, everything is good. Today is a more cloudy and rainy day, like Mondays should be, I guess. So tell me how your weekend was as we warm up here. Usually when somebody asks me how my weekend was, I just tell them short, as it always is. And in the game, I think we are at yes, exactly, looking at the info bar, we are at 89 kills for Gaspar. Yesterday I took a day off, something I recommend my other streamer friends to do as well. Taking a day off, thinking about something else on the stream, and then ideas keep popping up. Regarding the loyalty points, I wanted to give you an update. Unfortunately, Streamlabs told me that we are working on it with our developers, and currently if we look at our about section for the channel, basically we have a leaderboard there which would show top chatters, how many points top 10 have, all that good stuff. But unfortunately it's empty because it does not work. I can see the points myself in the dashboard here. I can see how many loyalty points, how many soldiers each of you has, but unfortunately we cannot show them to the world just yet. So another option, of course, would be to simply push for that Twitch affiliate status, and then we can display using the Twitch's own UI, Twitch's own interface, show all the points you have, the top 10, you know, and to allow you to spend those points for rewards on the channel. So I'm working on that. Streamlabs is working on that to help me out, but they don't have a resolution date in place, meaning basically it will still take a while. Not the best result I was hoping for, but it is what it is, right? So let me turn the volume up a bit here for the game as well, and let's check if we are on streamer mode, which we are. Great. So let's continue with the last ruin and push for that number 90 Elder Gaspar kill and see what he drops for us, shall we? And yeah, unfortunately I also had to solve some real life issues, let's say, regarding the rent and the place we moved in. I'm not sure we are agreeing 100% with the owner on what he would like to do. He would like to increase the rent after only 1 month of living here, and of course we don't agree with anything like that. We find it kind of a shady practice. I'm actually wondering if any of you had similar experiences in Germany. We'll try to discuss this with the Berliner Mietverein, so the Association for Renters, to seek legal counsel for that, because we just find it unacceptable, and the guy is kind of aggressive, kind of making threats, which is, if you don't see me on the stream anytime soon, just call the police, tell them Laborious has been kidnapped or something. Hopefully that's not the case, but seriously, I don't know what to say. We're living in Berlin for only 1 year, in Germany only for 1 year, and maybe, I don't know how things go around here, but the guy is not German, so I don't think he adheres to the German rental law, which is a problem. But if any of you guys have experiences with shady practices or bad owners within Germany, not necessarily in Berlin, you can let me know in a private message. You can write to me on chat, and I'll get back to you seeking advice. Of course, I also speak German, so I can understand everything needed. First, we'll discuss with the Mitverein and see what we can do there. Sorry to burden you with this is more of a curiosity issue. I hope it's not anything too serious, but I'd like to get to the bottom of this, let's say. We didn't check the stability before going in, but we need to see how high it was. I don't think it's too high because since Saturday evening stream, the Berlin party night, which was quite successful, I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't enter the game anymore to farm some more, stuff like that. I have the ice beetle with me, that's good. So regarding Last Epoch, we've had on Friday the developer stream. I find that very nice that the Mike from 11 Power Games takes the time to join and chat with us. We had a reveal for the Manifest Armor, which is an ability of the Forge Guard, visuals update, let's say, and some stuff they are testing for multiplayer, for example shrines. If you're going into an echo with your friends, with your party, and you take a shrine, they're trying to make the distance not too small, but also not to cover the entire map. So if you're anywhere near the one taking the shrine, but you don't have to be right next to him or her, then you will get the shrine buff as well. So everybody will get the shrine buff, which only makes sense because in an echo I wouldn't imagine a party of 4 being spread out just everywhere, right? So they should kind of stick together. So we'll see how that pans out. Other than that, what I'm really waiting to see are improving the performance for the game. Issues the developers are more than aware, I'm sure. And in other news, I'm sure you've already seen the presentation or the trailer, let's say gameplay trailer for Diablo 4. More of a marketing video, let's say, and the Necromancer introduction, but we didn't see a lot of gameplay from that point of view. So yeah, tread carefully, don't get your hopes up, is what I always say, because Blizzard hasn't delivered a solid launch and or game that can actually get updated properly in the last, I would say, 10 years. But then again, I guess they had Overwatch, which was good, but Overwatch is now discontinued because we want to launch Overwatch 2. Hearthstone, I don't know if we could count Hearthstone because that's just a low profile game, a low budget game too, so nothing major. And maybe World of Warcraft Legion, I don't know. Other than that, remasters for StarCraft Brood War, for Diablo 2, they even said at some point that they don't have any more remasters to make, so they need to come up with something new. And what they came with was, of course, as you know, Diablo Immortal, which was analyzed already thoroughly, also by Josh Hayes. Nice video with 1 million views on YouTube. The immoral design of Diablo Immortal. I suggest you watch that as well. Especially if you're defending the game and you think that such practices are in order. I didn't even install it myself because I am not supporting stuff like that, and you can check out my previous highlight. I was also talking about gambling, kind of in an unrelated note, but I think it's also related. You probably already know Diablo Immortal was banned and wasn't allowed to be released into European countries, into EU countries, the Netherlands and Belgium, because it basically encourages gambling with your real life money for a chance to get some legendaries. And it's even worse than the real money auction house in Diablo 3, just because you gamble your real life money on those eternal something sigils, I don't know, modifiers you put when entering a rift or a map. And then if you use those eternal whatever, you will get some legendary drops. Normally you don't get almost anything as a pre-player, and you gamble your real life money for a chance to get an item. You can't buy the item directly, of course, there is no real money auction house, but you gamble your money at a chance for the item to drop from the rift. Sad state of affairs, and we've come a long way since Diablo 2, which was just about farming, grinding, and looting without any, I don't know, dozens of currencies, in-game currencies to boggle your mind. Just focused on the game, focused on improving your character, focused on improving your skill and your knowledge of the bosses and the maps to become more efficient, and just farm away until that sweet item you were looking for drops. Just like in last epoch, where we are farming for the Ravenous Void, which drops only from Elder Gaspar, and even if I killed him 89 times and we're going for the 90th time, it's still a pleasure for me to play the game, enjoy, relax, hang out with you guys, and yeah, just Prism Wraps. That's what I'm talking about. So Prism Wraps is actually the chest item, the chest piece I am using. This is the convergence with the Twisted Heart of Icaros, which raises my ward whenever I cast a spell. I have a pretty good cast speed, 88%, so whenever I cast Lightning Blast, yeah, or Static Orb, then I get ward for the price of health. So a percentage of my health drops, that's what happens when I'm casting, but then it gets converted to ward. And in order to regain the health back while having the ward, I just use the Prism Wraps, 40% less elemental damage taken, increased elemental damage because I'm a lightning sorcerer and of course I need that, critical strike chance, increased critical strike chance, that's wonderful, and elemental damage leached as health on crit. So if I do elemental damage, a percentage of that will come back to me on crit, so that's why I'm a crit based build. Basically my critical strike chance with spells is at 63% right now. So let's just compare this. Let's see. This is actually an upgrade for me, because you can see the percentage of elemental damage leached is 7.9% for this new one instead of 6.9%. So don't mind if I do, I'll exchange this, and here we go. If I'm just going to remove the critical strike chance, yeah, okay. So it actually doesn't affect my spell critical strike chance all that much, but the critical strike chance altogether. Increased critical strike chance with 40%. So that's not really, I'm not sure the difference between the increased and exchanging the actual base rate. So if it said 40% critical strike chance without increased, then it would have probably actually increased and added here by 40%. But enough talking and speculation from my side. Let's just get back to it. So it's a nice upgrade. This is a nice upgrade. More damage, actually more health leached on elemental damage, so that's very nice. And we can actually get out of here because I died once in this echo. My bad, guys. And now I don't get any bonus stability. Common hours, my friend. How are you? How was your weekend? How was the concert in Nebraska? Tell me all about it. Ooh, 82 stability, so we need to do some grinding now to get it up. Let's see, enraged, increased health and damage. Yeah, we just go around here and take the less threatening modifiers for now, because we have a long grind ahead of us until 900 stability, that's for sure. So yeah, my weekend was great. We had really sunny weather here in Berlin, really hot. We went to a nice park in the center. It's actually called the Tierpark, which Tierpark would also mean zoological or zoo garden, yes, in German. But the zoo is actually next to it, and the Tiergarten is just a very big park very wide alleys, very sunny, very foresty, let's say. And it's called like that, the Tiergarten, so the garden of animals, because 150 years ago, and even earlier than that, it was actually a hunting ground for nobility and all those rich guys. But now it's just open for us little guys to walk around there. So yeah, they had like, at the time, you know, like boars and stuff like that, maybe bears, who knows what else, foxes, rabbits, and they would go hunting there, just where the center of Berlin now is. Their garden just goes from the Brandenburg Gate all across to Potsdamer Platz, let's say, and even further than that to the west. So it's, I find it similar to the Central Park in New York, let's say. Similar experience. Common Hours had a concert this weekend. He was busy, I'm sure, rehearsing, and I hope it just you know, went well. He'll tell us more about it. And for sure, he's fresher. He's more rested than I am. Today is the Monday. I'm after a Monday's day of work, you know, and Mondays are just the worst, especially after such a relaxing weekend. I'm actually just checking something to see if everything is in its place over there, and I think it is. So basically the work day is over for me now, but still, you never know when they get to you and try to ask for some extra hours. Which I normally don't do, so that's why I can have a pretty stable streaming schedule. Of course, I cannot stream for 8 hours a day or something like that. I do see some guys, even some Last Epoch streamers, who just stream for 8 hours straight, and kudos to them. I really appreciate it. I sometimes watch their streams too, but then I don't know, man. If they have a job, if they don't. But that's their personal issue, so it's not my place to pry. Crown of Sparks. Lighting resistance. It's not that good. Maybe I'll just shatter it. It's not that good, really. Let's just shatter it. Are you doing anything else besides working as a guitarist, Common Hours? Because my impression is that you're really a professional, so I'm thinking you're doing this full time. I'll probably do something else in your spare time as well to supplement that sweet income, who knows. How long is a flight from Nebraska to Portland, let's say? The US is just big, so I can imagine the distances to cover are quite high. From the west coast to Midwest, let's say, probably takes like 4 hours. I don't know. Just a speculation. When I was younger, I actually wanted to go to the US, rent out a Harley Davidson or something like that, and just do the full 2,000 mile or whatever trip it is across the US from east to west. I had a friend who did that actually, and it's pretty nice. I guess I'm a bit too old for that, but I can always try and come and do the Appalachian Trail, which is another, plan of mine at some point when I'll be leaving from only streaming and YouTubing. Just kidding. But maybe later in my life I'd like to do a part of the Appalachian Trail. I'm not a hardcore wanderer and do the whole track of, 1,300 miles. But I'm a big mountain fan. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of those in or near Berlin or within Germany really. So the Appalachian Trail should be really nice to do indeed. 3 flights. How come? Were those connecting flights or? Because that's quite a lot. Quite a lot. If you only flew from Nebraska to Portland, I don't know, you just flew to Madagascar first or Timbuktu and then for your connecting flight, layover in Mexico, I don't know. Increased damage, I don't know about increased damage. Let's get this glancing blow first maybe. And maybe the increased health as well. I don't know what's with these damage modifiers, I'm getting sick and tired of them. And if they have too high health, then my mana just drops, goes to hell. I'm actually curious if more people are watching the stream from mobile. Just like, for example, Common Hours told me he does. Because then I would need to maybe improve the look and feel of the stream a bit, or mobile as well. Anyway, Common Hours, the loyalty points can be accessed and see how much you've accrued on the stream. Also on mobile, so above the chat itself, there is an icon, a green icon with a smiling face, and that's actually the Streamlabs icon. It's not the icon of the channel. And if you click on that you should see your accrued points for the current stream. Unfortunately, I was with Streamlabs on Discord with the support, and the loyalty overlay, the loyalty overlay doesn't work as intended because we cannot translate the points to a leaderboard panel. On the about section of the channel there is currently an empty leaderboard panel because it does not get populated with data. And they're in touch with their developers and they'll get back to me and let me know. But I think the safest bet is just to go for Twitch affiliate, and there are some criteria for that. The monthly goal is actually related to that. I'll tell you more about it in a bit. Once we get Twitch affiliate, then we can just use currency, we can use channel points, we can display a nice leaderboard there on the chat, because that's done directly by Twitch and not by an external provider using the Twitch API. So yeah, for this month we are basically just looking for that 25 follower number, because the required follower number for Twitch affiliate is 50. So normally I wouldn't display such monthly goals, something like that. I just want to have fun with you guys and play the game. But it's the rules we have to play by in order to get Twitch affiliate. So 50 followers is one of the requirements. For this month we're not stretching too thin, so we can focus on 25 followers for the channel. But really, for me, it's the same. If even one person is watching, and I know Common Hours is, and I make that person's life better in any way, if I provide any entertainment value, if I provide any information, if you have a nice chat and just feel good together in this little community, then I'm more than happy, guys. So anything on top of that is really just extra. I don't care much about it. So getting back to those guys streaming for 8 hours a day, it's commendable, it's really nice. But I guess if you only live on Twitch as a streamer, don't have anything, you know, any other income or any other things to spend your time with, you kind of get fixated on what Twitch tells you to do and those objectives, those follower number, the viewer number, whatever. For example, I have my viewers number off, so I don't even know how many people are watching the stream, and it's not important to me. Whenever someone new comes in, they can let us know they're here, by writing, you know, hi in chat. We'll get back to him or her. We're a very friendly community, and the regulars here already know that. So I'm not really fixated on Twitch metrics and all that stuff, because just interested in playing the game really. Been doing this for, I would say, exactly 2 weeks now. On the 41st of May or something like that, I did a test stream, set everything up, and I'm really happy. Actually, the best thing I did, I think, for the quality of the channel was yesterday when I actually configured some filters for my microphone. Now there's less background noise, there is you cannot hear me clicking on the keyboard or pressing my mouse buttons anymore, so that's very nice. And I think the voice sounds a bit better. I don't have the best voice for streaming, that's for sure, I know, but few people do. But it sounds a bit better now. So I actually watched on Saturday evening after our Berlin party stream. I watched the stream a little. I usually rewatch them to take some notes on how to improve my content, and also to maybe find a stream highlight I can also post on YouTube. And yeah, I could see the improvement. I could see the improvement in the sound, in the voice. And you could also hear the music a bit better. You could also hear the game sounds a bit better. So yeah, very exciting. As you can see, I have a lot of fun doing this, and I really enjoy it. And I'm happy that we live in such a, you know, time and place that everybody has high bandwidth internet connection, and we can just do this live video stuff. It's really great. I remember a time, I remember dial-up internet. Dial-up internet was just you basically connecting over the phone line. Everybody had a fixed landline back then, and you would connect through a router, and your speed was like a maximum of 33 kilobytes per second. We all have download speeds of megabytes, 5 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 10 megabytes and more nowadays. 33 kilobytes. And you would have to connect over the landline when you couldn't use the phone in the house, and it cost you per hour. You buy a credit, buy like 5 euros, 10 euros, 20 euros, and each hour costs an enormous amount. It cost I don't know, 25, I think 25 cents or something like that. That was very expensive, and a long time the internet usage was limited by either bandwidth, I mean how much data, yeah, how much megabytes, how many gigabytes you downloaded, and then it would just not work anymore, or work on a very low bandwidth, or by time. So you would pay per hour, per day, per whatever. I think from 2000 onwards, I think I went to the internet first in 1997 or something like that. But for 2000 onwards, the internet was still pretty expensive, even in the Western world. I would say until 2006, 2007. But after 2010, everything really exploded. We also had the smartphones then, and we could go over on the internet from the smartphone as well. 4G connections and all that good stuff. So it really moved at the fast pace, and it's really accessible to mostly everyone, depending on where you live. Thank you, Common Hours. I would imagine internet connection issues abound in the US just because it's so big, such a large area to cover, and if you just live in the middle of nowhere, I don't know, somewhere in the Nebraska plains or whatever, I don't know exactly what's happening over there, then you would need to connect to the internet with, I don't know, a satellite dish or something like that. I know there are issues like this in Germany as well, but Germany is not the most digital country out there, that's for sure. And they need to connect themselves with a satellite dish, stuff like that. The internet, of course, the speeds aren't that great. Yeah, I actually discussed with the internet service provider, and we are unable to upgrade the upload rate we currently have, but we will switch the connection to a more stable one, because the current connection is through TV cable, and that just disconnects. This disconnects every 3-4 hours. It disconnects for 3-4 minutes, and then if that happens, the stream would drop, you would get kicked from the chat, I would get kicked from the stream, and it's just something we want to avoid at all costs. It only happened once, and only on my day off on the last Monday, when I streamed for, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours, and it only happened once then. But yeah, hopefully in about a month it will be solved, because I've registered the request for it, and it takes them about a month for their technicians to come, bring me the router and all that stuff. But the disconnect issues will be addressed. In case it happens at any point, just know I am reconnecting as soon as the connection is back up, and you can rejoin the stream if you so wish. And yeah, that's about it from my side. Lots of stuff happening, but we're managing it. We're managing to get there slowly but surely. And yeah, I'm sure if the streamer, whoever he or she is, if someone joins the channel, he sees the streamer is having fun, in a good mood. Because even in my life, you know, there are some personal issues to solve, stuff like that, but I don't complain about them to you. I'm not full of negativity. But if someone joins the stream, sees, you know, a bit of positivity, a bit of nice light-hearted attitude, an active chat, that's also important maybe, and of course content that the viewer is interested in, then why wouldn't they want to stay, right? Why wouldn't they want to follow? It's free and all that stuff. So instead of hard pressing people to do that, I would rather do some soft selling, as you would say, and just let the stream speak for itself, quality wise. And if people are convinced, they just do what they want or what they feel like doing in order to support the channel. I see a lot of people just, especially at the beginning. I mean, come on, look at my channel. My channel has 15 followers. I'm not sure if that bar is updated, but we have 15 followers, and I'm streaming like, you know, there's no tomorrow. I'm streaming, having fun, chatting with you guys. I don't feel any frustration from that or anything like it, because I don't gain anything from the follower number. We only need 50 followers at some point so that we can get the Twitch affiliate status, and that's also for you guys, because I want to implement a working loyalty system. The one from Streamlabs doesn't seem to be working, so we will, once we get that Twitch affiliate, we can go for the Twitch native one, and then you will have in the chat your channel points. When you're watching, you can see where you are on the leaderboard, you can see the rewards, you can redeem the points, you can give them to other people and all that fun stuff. I know that for some people it matters, and it makes Twitch a more interactive experience, and it's something that you don't have on YouTube, for example. Believe it or not, loyalty points, channel points, leaderboards, and all that interactive stuff was actually one of the reasons why I started streaming on Twitch as my main channel. I still multi-stream, but of course, once we will be Twitch affiliate, we will stop streaming on other platforms. It's requested. Those are the conditions. And yeah, I've seen on other channels, I've seen the streamers I am following, and yeah, it's actually quite addictive to see those leaderboards, to try and get more points, or just to, you know, be a nice guy or girl and gift them out to newer viewers. So it's just a community, an interactive community thing, which I find really valuable. I'm not an online marketer, I'm just a software developer, but I find that really nice. It's a shame really that I couldn't make it work with an external platform like Streamlabs. Maybe there are also some other providers like Stream Element or something like that. I will try to go with Streamlabs further on. Maybe we can fix that in some way with our developers. But I'm not holding my breath, you know, not keeping my hopes up. Because I actually asked them, okay, you have this ticket open already with your developers before me contacting you, so you know about the issue. How long have you had the request open? I'm just asking because I'm wondering how long it will take. And they said, yeah, a few months. So if it's a few months could be 2 months, or it could be 6 months, or it could be 8 months, or it could be a year, but they just say it's a few months. So I'm not holding my breath for that, that's for sure. Well, it's my pleasure, really. Common Hours, I'm doing it for fun, and as you can see, I'm having a lot of fun, and it really makes me happy that you are having fun as well, especially use regular, because you join, yeah, almost you join every day, really. So that's really nice of you to do, just so we can continue improving our quality, because I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, because I'm not, but I kind of hold high standards on myself. It's just who I am, and I kind of have high expectations from myself to deliver better, to be more efficient, to whatever, improve the quality of what I'm doing. And this is just who I am, and I'm always full of ideas and stuff. So actually yesterday, Sundays, it's my free day from it all, but since yesterday I really fought the impulse to join in, check out the stream, look what else I can improve, or just, you know, watch some stuff, read some education articles for stream or stuff like that. So I really fought with that impulse to not do it and just relax, and that really helped me out, because today I am actually more fresh than I was last week. I can tell you, I think 90% of the stream was really done. I mean, under the hood, behind the scenes, all the behind the scenes work was done last week. 90% of it, I would say. And last week I really felt the stress. You know, I really felt I didn't have enough time to do everything I wanted to do with the stream. But now this week is basically the first week we're streaming and having fun, and, you know, let everything we've already configured in the background run its course, and take it from there. Because normally I can tell you that only on Saturday evening I was maybe a bit more relaxed or well rested, but now we're back on track. Feeling better, feeling great. It's actually one of the reasons I am streaming Last Epoch, because when multiplayer hits, we'll be able to play together. And of course, we also have a Discord server, and if you want to join in the chat, and actually we can talk per voice, yeah, voice to voice. And you can also join the Discord voice chat, and you'll get live on the stream basically. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to play multiplayer at that point. And I guess multiplayer will start out with everybody's stash being empty, 0 gold, no items. So we'll just take it from 0 there and write our own story. So yeah, really looking forward to that. We don't have an ETA, we don't have a date for the multiplayer, and it's been ongoing for I think 2 years now. The people were asking about when is multiplayer coming, but we're now at version 0.8.5F, so I would suppose it's only natural that the multiplayer will come on version 0.9, and that will be, my best guess would be in the autumn, or for sure until the end of the year, because 11-hour games also needs the time to test it. The thing is, I'm sure you've seen the Diablo 4 announcement video, marketing video, let's say, more like it. The Necromancer video, and yeah, they say 2023. But as I know Blizzard, they usually announce the release date just a couple of months earlier, because we do a lot of internal testing and we're quite hush-hush about it. And if Last Epoch doesn't reach 1.0 status before Diablo 4 hits, supposing that Diablo 4 is at least decent for enough people to play, because if Diablo 4 is at least decent, it will steal all the player base Last Epoch would ever have. And it's a fine line, because you either release too late, a perfect game, but nobody's interested in that because we're playing Diablo 4 or PoE 2 or whatever, or you release too early, people see that Last Epoch reached 1.0, interest goes sky high, I don't know, 100,000 people join in the streams to watch them, 1 million people buy the game and play it. But if it's not good at 1.0, people will just leave in 1 week and never come back again. So we would need to keep that balance in mind and realize that if Diablo 4 or PoE 2 release before Last Epoch, then all the people, all the potential player base, all the potential viewers for this game will be playing something else instead. But if it releases before them and still multiplayer is bad, performance is not improved, and all that stuff, then people will try it, but then they will get the impression it's a bad game and never come back to it again. And we don't have to look any further than Wolcen for that, because that's the perfect example of a bad release, a lot of promises that weren't being kept, a rush to get to 1.0. 1 million people bought that game and joined the game, and then they left it in droves in a couple of weeks, but not without leaving worst reviews ever everywhere, on stream, on Steam, I am sorry, on Metacritic, and never coming back to that game again. So yeah. And main hurdles for multiplayer. That's a tough question to answer from somebody who's on the outside of things, because I'm watching the developer streams. I watched this one on Friday as well, and Mike over there is a developer, but he's not necessarily for the netcode, so he programmed all the skills in the game, all the skill systems in the game, let's say, the senior developer there. And he's pretty hush-hush about it, so he's keeping the information pretty close to the chest. He gave us a tidbit of information that, for example, shrines, when people are playing in multiplayer and someone takes the shrine bonus, they tested it that all the party members would get the buff only if they were like sitting next to the guy clicking on the shrine, and that didn't really go so well, so they've increased the distance for that. So if someone clicks on the shrine, everybody will get the buff within reasonable distance, as long as we're not all the way across the echo, across the map. But the issues themselves have to do not only with the code, but also with the infrastructure, the servers. Making online games is expensive because you need server space, you need virtual machines, you need cloud services, so infrastructure as a service, cloud as a service, all that stuff, and that costs money. I guess that was one of the reasons why EHG sold basically 20% of the stake in the company, or in Last Epoch, to Tencent, to get backing from a company that has a lot of money specifically for that. So it could be server infrastructure issues, and also considering how the end game looks like, all these monoliths, all these connected echoes, then they really need to have it clear in their mind how they will coordinate between players being some in the echo, some in the reward room, some just in the hub, like in the end of time area, and they've described that a bit more in the developer blog, the latest developer blog from, I don't know, March, May, I don't really remember right now, but they did say that they've developed a system to instance content. So instancing is basically when you're in the reward room or when you're in the hub, you get your very own instance. So that is a bit less expensive about them, because actually the details they give us were more related to cost and less about the technical solution they found or how it benefits us, the consumers. It was more about making it a bit cheaper for them. So to sum it all up, bad netcode, bad infrastructure, servers which lead to disconnects, or just, you know, authentication. If you remember Diablo 3 when it released, error 37, people couldn't log in for weeks to the game just because we would get a server error. And beside that, I guess they still need to implement trading. I'm not sure how they want it to look just yet. They were talking something about the bazaar, and actually I read about and found something about the bazaar which seemed very complicated. It's not an auction house, it's just an area where players set up shop. I think I've seen this in I don't know if it was Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy Online or something similar. Basically an area where players can set up shop. Maybe Lineage 2 it was. And buyers would just browse and see what they need. That seems overly complicated, and I think they're actually going to skip that idea and make it simple. I just want to, you know, join the game, play online with Common Hours Music, and trade something with him. Give him some gold or give a drop that I had. They also said in multiplayer drops are instanced, so everyone just gets their own drops. No drama about it, no rolling for it, of course. So instant drops, and, you know, something good for Common Hours Music's Necromancer drops. Something with, I don't know, minion damage, minion health, all that good stuff. Improved necrotic damage, improved, I don't know, cold damage, whatever else a Necromancer has. And I cannot give in to him if there is no trading system implemented. I don't want to sell it to him in the bazaar. Yes, and do excuse me just a second, my friends, because we have a guy advertising stuff over here, and we don't want that. He's not even a guy, right? A bot. And I always say, when you start getting bots on your channel, then you know you're on the right way, because you are getting views. So thank you for the views, my bot friend, but now I'm gonna say goodbye. So yeah, the question, Common Hours, was what hurdles they have at this point. I really don't know what stage of development they are in. I would say multiplayer works for the most part on their part, so I don't think they have really big issues, really big bugs, but it's all about the presentation as well, and it's all about the stress test, because the stress test involves a lot of infrastructure, a lot of servers, and a lot of money for that, because it ain't cheap, my friend. So I think that could be an issue, but we'll have to test it and see it out. Hopefully this autumn, but you never know, because my hopes for Diablo 3 aren't high. Diablo 4 aren't high, and I'm really not. I'm too old to hope. Blizzard has delivered disappointment after disappointment over the past 10 years, so it's not just, you know, it wasn't just a coincidence for 10 years to do such bad deliveries and providing such abysmal service to games like Diablo 3, which didn't see new content for years on end. So outside of Diablo 4, what expectations are there? PoE, you know my opinion of it. It's a great game, but it's too complex. It requires too much time, which I don't have, and I don't think any normal person has, to be honest. I mean, no person with a job and or a family has time to play PoE 8 hours a day, as the developers intended to, as the developers made the game. So yeah, hopefully Last Epoch will be up there with the stars, which would be a real success story, to be honest, comparable to Grim Dawn's story, which just started with 3 guys. They were just recording voices for the characters on like a balcony or something like that in the studio, but they didn't even have a soundproof studio to record the voices. And yeah, that game sold millions upon millions of copies, which is, for an indie developer, can be considered a real success. So I'm hoping for the best, also for 11th-hour games. I don't think they deserve it if they keep their communication and contact with their community, and especially like those guys that have backed them ever since I don't know, Kickstarter and early beta and whatever. Follow their suggestions as well and don't ignore them. And they seem to be doing just that. Which is great. And other than that, I think they know what they're doing. Most of the part in designing an ARPG, we can see that they are experienced in the ARPG area as players, as consumers, and they know what they would want from their own game. That's good. The other thing is, though, they do not have a lot of experience, I mean none, beside this game, in developing ARPGs. And okay, ARPGs are ARPGs, but nowadays it's not ARPG anymore, it's a live service game. And actually, as an inexperienced developer, as an inexperienced team in that field, there can be issues with providing updates in time. And as mentioned, infrastructure, servers, netcode, those are things they do not have any experience with just yet. So hopefully they know what they are doing, or having some good, hiring some good experts on that. And if the multiplayer will be the test, the multiplayer will be the final test, if they can provide with stable, well-designed, and intuitive, let's say, multiplayer, well-developed multiplayer, then I think everybody will be convinced and more people will be joining in to test it out. If the multiplayer is leading to disconnects, if the multiplayer is laggy, I am still talking about the performance issue, because we have performance issues even with one player character. What happens when there are 4 of them and the entire screen is always full of mobs, minions, player characters and all that stuff? What happens then? If they manage to tackle the performance issue, which happens on high-end systems as well, let's be honest, and if they provide a solid multiplayer experience, then I think this game will see a spike in popularity. And if it provides enough content for the end game, even for the most seasoned PoE players that have the time to play 8 hours a day, if it provides all that content so they don't get bored, these types of players, then yeah, I think they're on the right track. And we'll probably know how it all went, how it all panned out early next year, or maybe this time next year, next summer, right? I myself am having fun. I have, between Steam and GOG, I have more than 800 games, guys. I'm well covered. I can play anything else on the stream. I don't really care. I'm not staying up at night thinking, how will the release go? But I would really like for this game to succeed. I would really like for 11 of our games to succeed, just because in this area there is a drought, there is a famine for content like this, and we don't really have many alternatives in the RPG hack and slash area, especially for live service games or games that are still being actively maintained. So competition is good. I think competition is good. It pushes each developer to treat their game with more care, treat their active player base with more care, listen more to suggestions and community feedback, and not rest assured that not take their player base for granted, because they would have in this case alternatives and go to another game or to another live service that better serves their customers. But for now, it's summer 2022. Other issues as well. Inflation is sky high. Gas prices are through the roof. And it's good that we have some ways to divert our attention from all that. Because we said, hey, pandemic is over. We can go to concerts again. We don't have to wear masks anymore. That's great. We were happy, and then all this stuff happening in the world hit. So I guess we can just go along with it and enjoy our free time without too much worries, because that's not healthy. A movie I really liked is Bridge of Spies, and I think everybody knows about the Bridge of Spies movie with Tom Hanks. It's a movie by Steven Spielberg, and it's about a true story, of course told in the Hollywood way, but a true story about a bridge near Berlin actually, where during the Cold War the Allies, let's say, or the US would exchange Cold War spies, Russian spies, prisoners with American prisoners. And on that bridge, Tom Hanks' character was, kind of a negotiator. And he was also a lawyer. So basically, he caught a Russian spy, and he was in the US. They caught a Russian spy in the US, and he was basically facing possibly a death sentence because he was, doing his spy thing as a KGB spy or whatever it was at that time from Russia on American soil. And what Tom Hanks was doing, he was trying to get him out of there, because he was negotiating material. The Russian spy was negotiating material with the Russians themselves to save an American soldier, stuff like that, to exchange that Russian guy. And what I wanted to say about stress and living a life full of cares is that this Russian spy, he was a character in himself. He's played by a very good actor. He actually got the Oscar for a secondary role. And I don't know his name just yet because he's not very famous, unfortunately. But this guy was very calm. He was very relaxed. He was like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. He was such devil-may-care that he exasperated even Tom Hanks' character. Tom Hanks' character just exploded him and asked him, but do you really not worry? Do you know what's happening here? Do you know that you're facing the death sentence? Do you really not worry about anything? Do you really not worry about it? And this Russian guy's face lights up, full of hope, and he asks, would it help? And he says that like 3-4 times during the movies. Worrying does not help at all. It's something I also tell my wife. It's also I tell my friends. I know that sometimes it's difficult to disconnect yourself from life's vicissitudes and everything happening around you, but worrying does not help your situation. If it does, then worry. worry all as much as you'd like. But I don't think worrying helps in many situations. Just imagine a tennis player. Just imagine, I don't know, Rafael Nadal and all those top players. Imagine under how much stress they are put, and not only physical but also psychological stress, right? They want to win, they want the trophy, it's about a lot of money, it's about fame, the whole world is watching. I think they have learned not to worry all that much. And it's also worrying about things you cannot change at some point, because I cannot influence the development or the inner workings of Last Epoch's multiplayer. I cannot influence how Diablo 4 will be and if it's a good competition or not for this game. I can only play the game and enjoy. It's in my power to have a good time with you guys, grow the stream if possible, and have, you know, just have fun and hope that multiplayer will come soon so that we can play together on the stream. But I cannot influence what the developers are doing really and how multiplayer will actually look, so I'm not worrying about that because I cannot change it. It's about the tennis player as well, coming back to that analogy. Yeah, tennis player can only say, I'll do my best to play my best in this game. But really anything other than that is outside of their control. And this is actually a mentality issue. I read about this in a book about some guy providing also psychological guidance to tennis players as well. So there is this dichotomy between things we can change and things that we cannot change. Worrying about things that we cannot change, we have no influence on, doesn't help us, first and foremost. Worrying about things that are in our power, sure, helps us to improve. But then there are also, I would say, a third category of things that aren't completely in our power, just like that tennis player analogy, right? Because a lot of factors aren't in the tennis player's power, but what's in the tennis player's power is to bring on the A game, bring their best game to the table. And I guess this is what would apply perfectly to a stream, to this stream also, this analogy, because I'm trying to bring on my A game every day. I'm also learning, also from my mistakes every day, but this is what I'm here to do, bring on my A game. Everything other than that is really out of my control. I'm just playing the game, talking to you guys, and having a great time while at it. I'll shut up now. It's called Bridge of Spies, and I'll actually write it here. Bridge of Spies. It's an Oscar movie, you know. It's Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, so it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best or something that really changed my entire outlook of life or something like that, but it's pretty good. It's decent. It's had good reviews, and it's from, I don't know, 6 or 7 years back already. So yeah, give it a try. I think you'll like the spy character himself, the Russian spy character himself. And usually when I talk about the movie, I'm not giving you any spoilers or anything like that, so it's all good. You can trust me. Even though I remember the Game of Thrones series. Yeah, I think everybody watched Game of Thrones at some point. And there were all these people online, like on YouTube trailers and whatever, and they had this pleasure in spoiling what was happening, which character was about to die or something. I know, binge watching the series and all that. People were very upset because they said, "You're spoiling my experience. I'm not going to watch the series now. You should be, I don't know, you should be killed," or something like that, which I don't necessarily find true. I don't care much about the ending of a movie being spoiled for me, just because I enjoyed the actual experience of watching that movie, because the movie is not only its ending. Yeah, maybe when the movie ends you only remember its ending, that's intended, but I still enjoyed watching Game of Thrones, even if I knew that I don't know, one of the characters was going to die at the end of the season, just because I was too curious and I read it on Reddit. But I still didn't feel cheated. I still didn't feel I won't watch the series anymore because some anonymous guy on the internet ruined it for me, because it's still a season of Game of Thrones was 10 hours of a visual experience with a lot of things going on. Maybe that's just me, but I don't care much for spoilers, so I won't get upset if you spoil something to me. Of course, I probably won't tell you when I'm going to a movie or what movie I'm going to watch tonight. But still, I think there are more important things in life than just get upset on strangers on the internet because they ruined the Game of Thrones for you. 48% increased lightning damage while have lightning ages. That's wonderful. But the second FX is not what I want. I want increased lightning damage FX, so this is not useful for me. The dagger, I already have this. Drought release. Drought release. Missing health regained on motion use. +1 to acid flask. Acid flask, yeah, okay. Acid flask. I would actually like to do an acid flask based rogue at some point. Guys, what about our item rarity? It's shit. We have to improve it. How I felt about the final season of Game of Thrones this is how I felt. I felt that it was rushed. I've read that they didn't have enough budget left. I felt that it had to be broken into 2 seasons, because in the last season there are really two main story arcs, and the last season was many years ago, so I'm going to talk about it openly because everybody who wanted to watch it watched it already. People were mostly upset about the death of Daenerys, yeah, right. And the mistake of the series creators was that, of course, it was a budget thing. They needed to do what they could do in 10 episodes. And what they needed still to do was, I don't know what she was called anymore, Arya defending the Night King and defeating the White Walkers. That should have been the ending of that season. And the next season should have been the entire story arc of Daenerys, because what the series doesn't really explain, you have to kind of guess it, is that she goes mad just as her grandfather, the Mad King. She becomes murderous from her, vengeance and all that stuff, and she wants to just kill everybody, and you can only surmise that from the scene when she sets her last dragon, that black dragon, on King's Landing, I think it was called, yeah, the city, and just kills everyone there. And that wasn't enough to justify Daenerys being killed afterwards, because the viewer wasn't really informed about it, yeah. They should have spent the time, invested the time, maybe not 10 episodes, but still 8 episodes, something like that, in the final season, to make us understand why Daenerys wasn't the Daenerys we knew anymore, but she was turning gradually, ever so slowly, into the Mad King and descending into the Maw of Madness herself, and that's why she had to be removed. So that was my impression. I wasn't really Team Daenerys myself, I was always Team Arya. It's just the kind of character that I sympathize with. Chaotic good characters, as they would call it. And yeah, it ended well for Arya and for the Starks, the remaining Starks. Jon Snow went back to with his friends, with the only ones who understood him. Jon Snow was always like an artist. misunderstood the Messiah of sorts. He went back with the Nordlings. Yeah, Arya went to search for more adventures. I think Arya is a bit like Ciri from the Witcher series, by the way. And yeah, Sansa got to her kingdom to rule and all that good stuff. So everybody was happy from the Starks. They got what they wanted in the end, and of course, Tyrion Lannister became the king's hand, which is exactly what I expected to happen. What I actually expected to happen was, of course, Jon Snow to become the king on the throne. Even after he killed Daenerys, I was actually still expecting him to be the king on the throne, Jon Snow. I wouldn't have expected Tyrion to be the king anyway, but I would have expected Jon Snow to become the king and name Tyrion his hand. So actually that's what I was expecting. But in the end, okay, Bran is also whatever, good. That's what he has been preparing for. Surprise, surprise, I didn't know that. And Tyrion was hand, and also the spider, I don't remember his name, Varys was it, yeah? So it ended well for me, it ended okay for me, to be honest. I wasn't disappointed or anything like that, but the last season was rushed, I would say. How about you, Common Hours? How did the last season of Game of Thrones make you feel? Because yeah, whether people like Game of Thrones or not, it was really a one-of-a-kind series. It was kind of the series of our generation. A lot of budget invested in it, and I think after the third season, after the Red Wedding, the viewer number just went through the roof, raised exponentially, and it became so popular. Like we had the joke in Romania. In the early 90s, when communism fell and we had access to Western media in the end, there was this TV series called Dallas, and you probably know of it, but it's actually an older series from the 70s. And Dallas was the story of some rich guys in, well, Dallas, Texas, yeah, right? So in the oil and gas oil business, and it was like exactly like Game of Thrones, you know. It was like about family feud. There was the civil guy JR who just tried to do bad things. There was this good guy Bobby, and it was and we were joking in Romania that Game of Thrones is the Dallas of our generation, right? Because it was the same thing. There was this good guy Bobby. He was like Jon Snow a bit. You know, you wanted him to succeed. He was so good, but there was this bad guy like JR. I don't know, like Cersei, or that Lannister father from Game of Thrones. You wanted him to fail, but he was just sneaky, and he had sometimes beaten Bobby and successes. There was Pam, like Bobby's, I don't know, I guess at times lover. And yeah, I was just a kid when it happened, but I know it was on TV and everybody in Romania, because it was, you know, Western media, American movies. Like after 42 years of communism, come on, it's something to behold, and people finally felt free. They can watch Dallas on TV. Whatever, everybody was watching. Everybody wanted to know what Bobby, Pamela, JR, and the others were doing. It was like Game of Thrones, you know. It was not really a soap opera, but it wasn't very far away from it, you know. And GOT was a bit like that. You were just watching once you started because you want to see whoever else will die in this episode, or what will happen, will good prevail, and whatnot. Also, I think that the story went its own separate way after the fourth season. I think the fourth season is the one ending with the Night King, like holding a zombie baby in his arms, stuff like that. things that weren't in the books. So I think after the fourth season, the series went kind of on its own way. Of course, we had George R. R. Martin to supervise everything or something like that, but the offer of books in the end is just the brand. It's just the brand, and to get people who played the books, to pull them in to watch the series. And I'm not sure. Whoops, I've canceled this echo. I'm sorry. I'll do it again. Anyway, I think he didn't have a lot of influence on the production process, especially as the series picked up and became very, very popular. And yeah, I don't know how good the story was. Seasons 5 and 6 and 7. There were some things that happened, but also a lot of the time nothing happened. So it kind of dragged a little. I think the high point of the series were like the Red Wedding. Nobody was expecting what happened at the Red Wedding at the end of the season, and that also pulled a lot of new viewers in. So yeah. But I was mentioning that the writer itself, himself, is or herself, is just really the brand they slap on the series to sell, you know, to get people to watch. And I can't think of a better example of that than the Witcher series. Last year I've actually read all the Witcher books. There are 8 of them, so the 7 books Andrzej Sapkowski is the name of the writer, published originally, and then an 8th book, Time of Storms, he published in 2013, which is kind of a separate story arc. It's also with Geralt, but it's a story about Geralt and Coral, as she was called, a sorceress. And when I watched the series, I watched the first season without reading the books, and the first season was what, December 2019. 2020 nothing happened because of the pandemic, so I had the time to read the books last year before starting to watch the second season. And I could just see, especially in the second season of The Witcher, not only it had nothing to do with the books, but they actually rewrote the entire story in the books. So it doesn't have anything to do with the books, guys, just a fair warning. They wrote completely different story arcs, completely different things happening, completely different characters even. And I can tell you that the Witcher with the scar on his face, I don't remember what he was called from the games, but also from the series. His personality in the series had nothing to do with how he actually was in the books, in the games, and all that stuff. Yennefer's arc has nothing to do with what actually happens in the books, and they changed how Yennefer reacts and does some things which are kind of irreversible, especially in her relationship with Ciri, which I think is the most important thing. For the character Yennefer is the most important thing to define her as a character, to watch her, how she interacts and behaves with Ciri. So yeah, just watch it at your own risk. If you watch it, my wife enjoyed it because she didn't read the books, and it's enjoyable to just watch. But even the main antagonist of the season, that demon or whatever, nothing to do with what's happening. And I can tell you something else, because I guess you watched it at this point. Well, let's say that the Emperor Lemire, the Emperor of Nilfgaard, Lemire, says something at the end of the season pertaining to his relationship with Ciri. We find that in the books much later on. We maybe assume it. Geralt is also researching it in the books. We assume it that Ciri is the source, that she has the Elder Blood, so the blood coming from the last, I don't know, mage sorcerers or elven sorcerers or whatever. We assume that relationship, but we find out about it much later in the game. And I can tell you something, Emir Van Rice, Emir, so the Emperor of Nilfgaard, was very secretive about it. He was very secretive about it. He wouldn't tell anyone, because if anyone knew about it, just imagine what would have happened. Everybody would want to get Ciri, or everybody would get to him, and all that stuff. Everybody would kind of understand, or what he wanted to do. He was a very sneaky guy, very smart guy, actually. Not necessarily in a good way, but still, there are a lot of evil geniuses in the world, you know what I mean. So, but then at the end of the season 2, he just goes ahead in front of the throne room or whatever, and he says, "She is my..." Yeah, okay. I can say it, yeah. He says, "She is my daughter." Everybody hears it. It's like a room full of people. "She is my daughter." Doesn't have anything to do with the actual plot, and I'm not that kind of stickler to, oh no, it's not canon, it has nothing to do with the... I don't care really. The games had nothing to do with the books, to be honest, but they were good. They respected the story, or what happened in the books before the games, at least, yeah. And so it's not the same experience as by watching Game of Thrones after reading Song of Ice and Fire books, the ones that got released before. I had a colleague at work. He actually read the books already while he was waiting for the series, the first season, to come out. So he's a big fan. He was kind of into history and all that stuff, fantasy, and reading the Game of Thrones books before watching the series can be beneficial. But reading the Witcher books before watching the Witcher series can only confuse you. Because I was watching the series and I was like, hold on a minute, am I losing my mind here? Because did this even happen in the books? Is my memory failing me? Am I getting too old? Do I need to take medicine? Because this has nothing to do with what I read in the books like half a year ago. And I was actually questioning my sanity at every point of watching the second season. My wife was enjoying watching the series, was having a lot of fun, and I couldn't even focus on what was happening on the screen anymore because I was always asking questions in my head. Hold on a minute. Don't I know how to read? Am I like going crazy here? Because this says nothing but nothing. It's that bad. It's that bad. And I actually found a Reddit post after the season 2 came out, and there was this guy who wrote like a gazillion of pages just listing everything that is different, but totally fundamentally different from the book in the second season of The Witcher. It was such a big list. I actually saved that post, and yeah, if we ever want to talk about it on stream, or if you ever want to go into detail about that and watch me talk about that and participate in the conversation on chat, then just let me know. Just drop by a suggestion in the chat box and in the chat, and I'll let you know. At some point, I'm sure I'll make some polls to ask you guys what I should talk about, what topics you're interested in, because if you're for the first time here, you probably can see we talk about a lot of things on the stream. Last Epoch is really just the pretext and the background. We talk about the game at points, of course, and we are farming for the Ravenous Void Drops, and actually it's almost time to leave, but since we have enough stability already, I would like to do Elder Gaspar one time at least for you guys, because this would be the first time in the stream when we don't do Elder Gaspar at least once otherwise, just because I talked a lot about other topics. So we're farming Elder Gaspar for the Ravenous Void Gloves, And this would be the 90th 90 try to get the gloves. We raised the corruption to 500 and I don't even know anymore. 560, I don't even know anymore. But ideally, in order to get that, we should, the Ravenous Void, we should have above 500% stability. Not stability, excuse me, item rarity. Lots of terms I'm not still familiar with. So we see we only have 386% item rarity. And that would mean the Ravenous Void has, I don't know, 1.8% chance to drop. If we had the item rarity at 500% or higher, that would mean we kept the drop rate to the maximum of what we can get for Ravenous Void, so about 3%. And unfortunately, that's not the case, so he healed. But I think after he heals, his health does drop a bit faster. But I have to keep hitting him. So I think it's possible to get the Ravenous Void even at this item rarity. It's just that the chances to drop, you're not improving your chances to get it. That's the only issue. And I have all the blessings, improving unique drop rate, improving glove drop rate even. So we're doing things by the book. But from what I've read from the few that have the Ravenous Void, and those are professionals, yeah, guys who have a lot of time to play this game and study. It takes about 150 attempts at Elder Gaspar. Then there was a guy on Reddit saying that he got the Ravenous Void on a monolith that wasn't even empowered, right? So these empowered monoliths are the ones with starting at 100 corruption and unlimited corruption on top of that. He got it in a normal monolith with maximum 50 corruption. Yeah, so no unique gloves, but we can still go for the drops and make sure. Let me just check. Can I just cancel this? I just cancel this. 45%. Yeah, so I'm improving my increased body armor shard drop rate by 1%. Let's take this one. So yeah, at least we got that. And today we also got the better prism wraps. Prism wraps is what I use to regen my health when I'm casting spells. So 7.9% of elemental damage leads to health when critting instead of what I had before, 6.9. So at least that's a win, but that was just a random drop from it doesn't drop from Gaspar necessarily. Abyssal Jade Cleaver of Sorrow, increased damage over time for minions. Is this an item that's good for you, Common Horus Music? Increased damage over time for minions, 415%. I'm just wondering, because if yes, I'll keep it. Maybe we'll be able to trade it when multiplayer starts, but I guess multiplayer would just mean online characters and all we've put in our stash tabs will be lost. So 415% increased damage over time for minions. Some keys, and of course the set items, Gaspar's Will, the Scepter, Gaspar's Insight, what he always drops, the set items. Increased area with Decimate. So I suppose Decimate is a Necromancer spell. So I guess the Elder Gaspar is kind of a Necromancer now. And yeah, that's about it. We're updating the info. 90. And my friends, I want to thank you very much for joining. If you like what you're seeing here, and trust me, it gets even crazy on the weekly stream on Saturday evening, you can, of course, follow the channel to help us grow and come back soon. It's even more important than followers or anything like that. Come back soon. Come back tomorrow. I stream every day. Check out the schedule. 5:30 p.m. Central European Time, 11:30 a.m. East Coast Time, and let's have a good time then. And don't be afraid to be active on the chat, because we're having a lot of fun here and we're very friendly, so we are expecting you tomorrow again. Guys, Thank you for watching. Have a great day, common hours. Thank you for joining in and being such an active and nice guy overall. Enjoy watching Bridge of Spies. If that's your thing, check it out, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Thank you for dropping by. Bye bye. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.